Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to code what we learned in the quiz. So in the quiz, you saw the statement address equals and the sequence of numbers from 1 to 9 separated by commas within these square brackets. So let's take a look in a little more detail as to what this expression is. So the first part is called a variable. And you can use a variable, think of it as a name, that you can use to reference something in memory. So in this case, we're using this variable to reference this data structure, which is this sequence of numbers. In Ruby, this structure is called an array, and it's signified by these opening and closing square brackets. And this array happens to have 9 numbers in it. And these could be anything. It could be numbers, it could be names, strings, it could be other arrays, it could be anything. So in this particular case, the value that our address variable is pointing to happens to be an array. And we're going to learn how to work with arrays in depth later on as we progress through the course. So let's move on. The language we'll use is Ruby. Now, Ruby is the programming language behind Rails. It's a very powerful language, and it comes built in with a lot of features and methods. But we're going to learn more about Ruby starting in section 2. The only thing we're going to need to use that's pretty much Ruby specific is this reverse method, which is also something you saw in the quiz. All right, so what do you need to get started? You need a development environment which has Ruby installed and a text editor. But we're going to sidestep all of this installation of text editor and Ruby and everything by using this online service called REPL, where we can simply write our code and run it to see the results. So let's pull up a browser window. All right, and go to REPL.it. So REPL stands for Read, Evaluate, Print, Loop, and it's something you may hear quite a lot in programming. And basically, REPL provides you development environments for lots of languages and also for frameworks. So it's very easy to use, very feature rich, but all we're interested in is a development environment that has Ruby. So under languages, I'm going to click on Ruby. And what this will do is it will load a development environment which has a code editor right here, a code editor area, and an area on the right. I'm going to click on this sign up so it goes away. Okay, an area on the right where the evaluated code of what I'm writing can be output. Okay, so think of this as a terminal screen that's running interactive Ruby. Perfect. And on the left here, what is this? This simply has the file that's open here in my code editor area. So this is a file tree. So you can add files, you can add folders, you can upload files over here from your local machine. You can download files, you can do all kinds of things. So right now, I don't really need this area. So I'm simply gonna click on this files icon to get rid of it. All right, perfect. And the other thing about REPL is I can write code here and run it, but none of my work will be saved. So if I come back to this and I actually want my work saved, I can either sign up for REPL, then I'll have the environment saved for myself with all the code that I've written there, or I can download the file and save it on my local to run later. All right, so let's get started. Over here, let me try to maximize this so you have a better view. All right, so you saw this sequence within square brackets, and it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then there was an address variable that was pointing to this. Actually, there you go. So the first thing is, what if we wanted to print out this address array that I have? I can simply say P and then address. P for print and then address. Now, how do I run my code? I can click on this play button right here, green play button. If I click on it, there you go. There is my array showing up. Perfect. So one of the things about arrays is arrays are indexed, meaning there's an index associated with every array that you create. And the index happens to be ordered. So an array you can refer to as basically an ordered collection of items, which in our case happens to be numbers. So what is that index like? So this first number is at index 0. So my index 0 of my address array is 1. Index 1 of my address array is 2. Index 2 of my address array is 3. So you get the picture. So one of the questions you had was, what is the item at index 5? So let's test it out. Address, and within square brackets, I'll say 5. But of course I want to print this. So I'm going to say P space address within square brackets 5. Let's run it. There you go. It's number 6. Okay. So let's test this. Index 0 is 1. 1 is 2. 2 is 3. 3 is 4. 4 is 5. And index 5 is 6. So there you go. My number 6. Perfect. All right. And then the last thing you saw was we created this new address variable, and then we assigned it to address.reverse. So what is going on here? This dot reverse. All I'm doing here is I'm calling this method reverse that comes with Ruby on my address array. All right. And the way to do that is by using this dot. This means take this method and run it on whatever is behind the period, all right, or behind the dot. So address.reverse. Now we want to print out the value of new address. So we're expecting a reverse list. So 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's run it and see if it works. There you go. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. So congratulations, you've written your first piece of Ruby code, and I hope you enjoyed coding our quiz. And with that, we end this video here. I will see you in the next video.